Love is the best show of 2024. Taiwan really said, let's hijack the year at the last minute, and they did it. I thought Unknown would be Taiwan's best of 2024, but then See Your Love came along and said, no Step Brothers on my watch. Taiwan saved the best for last and secured what I consider the best of the year. Unknown was going to be my best or my number one for 2024, but then this showed up together with Our Youth right before the end of the year. And they knew what they were doing with all the make our days count references, the trauma, the pain. I'm salty. They even had Wang Chunchi make a cameo just to twist the knife further. So the story of See Your Love revolves around Sean or Yang Zizhang, a spoiled rich boy who's trying to rebel from his father and family's expectations by pretending to be absolutely useless and just being a menace in general. He spends the first half of the show being a gremlin to everyone around him, especially his personal assistant, Jonathan, who does basically everything for him. But we love and adore Sean. He met Zhang Xiaopeng, who's having trouble getting the job he wants as a caretaker because of his deafness and muteness. Sean basically bullied and bribed him to work for him while Sean pretended to be injured. Sean is honestly your typical clumsy female lead in a rom com series who trips on a flat surface. He gets injured a lot in the show. I was honestly expecting Zhang Xiaopeng and Jonathan to wrap him in a bubble wrap at some point because he seems to be very breakable. Before we go deeper into the storyline, let's talk about representation of disabilities because recently the BL industry discovered that it's very marketable trope. And I have thoughts. Jin Yun's character here, Zhang Xiaopeng, is mute and deaf. The actor needed to learn proper sign language, and I honestly love the integration of sign language in all of the scenes that Zhang Xiaopeng is in. And other than at the very last scene, at the very end of the last episode, we never heard Jin Yun's voice, not even through his thoughts, which is a choice that I appreciate. Then, as the series progresses, Lin Yu, the actor that plays Sean, is also shown using sign language in his interactions with Zhang Xiaopeng. I commend the main leads. They did a great job. I would like to take this an opportunity to talk about proper representation versus romanticization of disabilities, whether that's physical or mental or even medical conditions. I just have such an issue with some series that I'm not even going to name that use disability or medical conditions as a plot device, often to evoke pity, create drama, or mostly serve as a means to bring two characters together. It trivializes the real life challenges, reducing them to narrative gimmick. These shows make it seem like disabilities are some hurdles that can be easily overcome through the power of love. I absolutely despise this cure all happy ending. The trope suggests that all problems can be solved, ignoring the reality that not every condition is curable and that fulfillment and love are still attainable even if it's a lifelong condition. Shows often miss the chance to explore what it means to live and thrive with disability or medical condition instead of opting for a tidy resolution. True representation should portray characters with disabilities or medical conditions as multidimensional individuals, not defined solely by their condition. Your character's condition doesn't have to be the most dramatic thing about them. Let them be funny or annoying or brilliant or just plain ordinary. It should educate viewers about specific conditions, fostering empathy and understanding rather than pity and sympathy. We should aim to normalize real life experiences instead of stereotyping physical and medical conditions and disabilities. If the storyline boils down to love conquers all, I think it's time to reevaluate. Love is not some magic fix all for life's problems. Some people live with conditions forever, and guess what? They still have meaningful lives. I have a heart condition. I pretty much live normally with a few extra considerations. I must be mindful of what I eat and my physical activities, which is, let's be honest, what you should do anyway if you want to live a healthy life. And I do need to take quite a few medications on the daily, and that will be a lifelong reality. But for the most part, it's pretty normal. Not everything or everyone needs fixing, which is why I have so much beef with the ending of Kidnap and Man's miraculous heart surgery. The doctor said he's going to live a normal life. Define normal for me, doc, because A Tale of a Thousand Stars told us that's not the case. What also bothers me about BL's handling of disabilities, not just BL, but series and shows in general, is how characters who acquire a disability later in life suddenly become completely defined by it. There's so much potential to explore themes like grief, identity crisis, and relearning life skills, things that resonate deeply with people who have gone through life altering changes. The journey from struggling to acceptance, finding love, and building a new normal can be inspiring, highlighting resilience and the importance of support systems. But the way it's usually portrayed, it's frustrating. The character either becomes this tragic hero who needs saving, but by their one true love, or a bitter recluse that the love interest has to quote unquote fix. And then there's the whole idea that disability is something to be overcome instead of something to live with. Too many stories push the idea that the character has to either be quote unquote cured or fight through their condition to be seen as whole again, which is just feels dismissive for real life experiences. What I need is a story that actually takes the time to explore the societal challenges that come with living with disability or medical condition. I say that, but it hurts my heart so bad to see Zhang Xiaoping struggling with that interview at the start of the series. And I want to punch that interviewer in the face so bad, and at the same time, I kind of want them to dig deeper into that. Zhang Xiaoping got a bit of a shortcut with the help of Sean. I would have appreciated more if they expanded into that plot, but anywho, going back, things like accessibility, workplace dynamics, and how relationships shift, not just in romance, but in friendships and family too. I want to see characters who have agency, who make their own choices, who push back against the idea that their life is now just about struggle or inspiration. Because that's where a lot of these stories fall short. They focus so much on the personal battle that they forget the bigger picture. The way society itself creates barriers that make things harder than they need to be. And really, any good story, whether it's about disability or not, should dig into themes like self worth, community, and the fact that there's more to life than just fitting into what society considers normal. There's so much richness in showing how people build new ways of living, find unexpected joys, and redefine success in their own terms. But too often, these narratives get stuck on the idea that the only way forward is proving to the world that they can rise above their condition. What I want to see is something that acknowledges the struggles, but also celebrates the full complex reality of living with disability without turning it into a pity party or a motivational speech. And this is another reason I take such an issue with the narrative of I Hear the Sunspot. It's a Japanese BL. Why is the main focus suddenly about Tai Chi's journey instead of Kohei? Kohei developed a hearing disability in high school and was finding ways to adjust with the hearing loss and college. And then halfway through the series, it's all about the love interest Tai Chi. And honestly, I find Tai Chi's character so self righteous, it's irritating. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. A lot of people is going to come after me because I hear the sunspot is so popular. It's just me. I just did not like the framing of that show. This is actually a totally different script when I started, and I'm not even sure I made sense. But I also just watched When the Phone Rings. So, yeah. If you know that show, you'll know where I'm coming from. Muteness as a plot device. Anyways, I think I made my point with all the yapping. Let's go back to the main story. Can we acknowledge that the main couple in the show is so overpowered? This is one series where there will be no second couple syndrome. The main couple dominates everything, and one of them does not even talk out loud. First, the height difference is serving. They honestly remind me of Jimmy and Tommy. Is that just me? The second couple from Why Are You? Does that ring a bell to anyone? And the on screen chemistry, if some on screen couple have even an ounce of Lin Yu and Jin Yoon's chemistry, I'll be so much happier in life. So the series starts with Zhizhang or Sean arriving in Taiwan to close a business deal his father assigned to him. I'm going to call him Sean because Zhizhang is just too much. Asian names in general are hard to pronounce. That's coming from an Asian with an English first name and a Spanish last name. That's Filipinos for you. Sean is presented as this happy go lucky, spoiled brat who does not care about work or his family business or and just wants to pass all of his responsibilities to his assistant Jonathan. Jonathan is more like his handler, to be honest. He's mainly there to keep Sean in line, not that he's any successful in that. It's a fruitless endeavor when Sean is being a brat on purpose. So, because of this dynamic, people always mistake Jonathan as the boss, and also because Sean is so non threatening. In general, he comes across as some kid, which he is at least for the first part of the show. Since this is a Taiwanese BL, there will always be guns and gangs. Sean and Jonathan are being chased by this gang when Sean bumps into Zhang Xiaopeng. As one does in these BLs, when one character falls into the other character's arms, you know they're meant to be together forever, right? The first introduction of Zhang Xiaopeng in that interview was so hard to watch, like I said before. I just want to reach for him, hug him, and protect him from the world. It's already a struggle in general to find work that not only pays enough, but a work that's not going to slowly suck the life out of you. I cannot imagine struggling through job hunting with disabilities. That interview shows how much our society is geared against success for differently abled people and how the general population does not understand how to handle interactions with people with disability. And when people are uncomfortable, they become aggressive. And that's such a frustrating scene to watch. So Zhang Xiaopeng helped Sean get away from the guys that are hunting him. Why Zhang Xiaopeng helped Sean without any context on what's happening, I don't know. I would have left his ass to get beaten up, but that's just me. I don't want to get involved. But one of the funny moments was when Sean protested about hiding because he's not a coward, and I'm like, you're 4 feet, sir. There's like four of them. Get your ass in there and hide. I also love all the close ups to emphasize that paint tube while they were in the tunnel. Yeah, outstanding storytelling, let me tell you. Sean is saved and he meets again with Jonathan. Both Zhang Xiaopeng and Jonathan just manhandle Sean most of the time in this series, mostly because he could not stand on his own without tripping or getting himself injured, but it also brings focus to the height difference and I love it. Anyway, so of course Sean sprained his foot or his leg. No one really knows what part. He got injured and played it up to get away from work. Zhang Xiaopeng, on the other hand, goes home and we meet his parents, who seems very affectionate and concerned about him. But we also witnessed how Zhang Xiaopeng downplays his feelings of failure and his struggles with his disabilities in front of his family, which we can understand. Some of us tend to think of ourselves as burdens to people around us, especially those close to us, and I can imagine that is amplified when someone has physical challenges. Meanwhile, we have Sean, who works so hard to be a challenge to everyone around him. Such an adorable menace. So we got these two who's going to get together, and I love them so much. If that's not apparent yet, one of the great things about Sean and Zhang Xiaopeng's dynamic is no one needs to be the hero and save the other. Zhang Xiaopeng can take care of himself. He's adjusted to his life. Yes, he's struggling, and the world around him does not make it any easier to reach his goals. But Zhang Xiaopeng is a very strong, very capable character. Sean, for all of his nonsense and though a bit lost, he knows what he wants out of his life. He wants to get away from the family pressure he's in. They're strong people on their own. In See Your Love, we have a more, or at the least, equal footing between our two leads. So, through some convoluted way, Sean bribed, bullied, intimidated, however you want to call it, Jiang Xiaopeng to being his personal carer while he's injured. And like I said, Sean's injured a lot. So it's obviously a long term position, a lifetime position. Once they got to know each other and they got over their initial impression of each other, especially Jiang Xiaopeng's initial impression of Sean as this spoiled kid that's taking advantage of his disability and looking down on him. I love the montage of Sean slowly learning sign language to be able to communicate properly with Jiang Xiaopeng, how they bonded about it, and how Sean opened up to Jiang Xiaopeng about his insecurities and his dreams. Do we really need the fiancé drama? No, nobody needs it, and no one asked for it. But it's Jessica, so who are we to say no to her presence? The beautiful voice of every BLOST in Taiwan. We love Jessica in this house. She's a bit of a bitch, but her name's Jessica. She can't help it. But I appreciate that Sean told Jessica immediately that he's breaking up with her because he fell in love with someone else. We would have appreciated if Sean also told Xiaopeng about Jessica, but yeah, that happened. Before we talk about my favorite part of the series, let's talk about the cockroach or Jonathan's puppy, Wang Xinjia. He deserves better than Jonathan, in my opinion. Jonathan keeps bullying him. The baby just wanted to live a life of a criminal mastermind. He's not exactly qualified because he's a precious child, but Jonathan is just so mean to him. I don't really care much about them. There's really not much to see there other than the fact that Jonathan in the morning and Jonathan at night are two different species, but he's serving. So, going to the most emotional confrontation, is Jiang Xiaopeng just Riley from Inside Out, right? With him trying to be brave and suppress his feelings of sorrow and disappointment with his failures to give a front of a happy child for his parents, like Riley, who masked her homesickness and emotional turmoil to avoid worrying her family. Zhao Shangpeng puts a happy face, determined not to be a burden, and then Shan enters his life, becoming the safe space where he can finally allow those suppressed emotions to surface. The most emotionally charged moment of the show is arguably the hospital corridor scene, where Zhang Xiaopeng's carefully maintained facade begins to crack. Up until this point, he has shouldered his frustrations and disappointments alone, keeping them hidden behind an easygoing demeanor for the sake of his family. But Sean refuses to let him continue pretending. Rather than offering a quiet comfort or allowing Zhang Xiaopeng to bottle up his feelings once again, Sean actively pushes him, prodding at the walls he's built until they finally break. Sean screaming at Zhang Xiaopeng, even though he cannot hear him, is such a powerful moment. What makes this scene so impactful is that Sean doesn't simply console Zhang Xiaopeng, he forces him to confront the emotions he's been suppressing. It's not a soft, reassuring moment, it's raw and unfiltered. Sean challenges him to stop acting like everything is fine, to acknowledge that he is hurt, that he is struggling, and that he doesn't have to pretend otherwise. This confrontation strips Zhang Xiaoping of the last of his defenses, exposing the pain he has tried so hard to hide. It's a pivotal moment in their relationship, one that redefines their dynamic. Sean isn't just a source of warmth and support. He is the person who sees through Zhang Xiaoping's front and refuses to let him carry his burdens alone. In this way, Sean doesn't just represent comfort, he represents confrontation, forcing Zhang Xiaoping to face his emotions rather than burying them under forced optimism. And another theme that I hate so much in the shows is it's either doom and gloom or they swing so far away to the other direction to toxic optimism, this force and performative positivity. And it just leaves a bitter taste in my mouth whenever that's the take the show goes with. So praise to the show for having mostly equal footing when it comes to the main leads, but there are definitely aspects where Sean's character development took a step back for Zhang Xiaoping's. Sean's internal conflict, his strained relationship with his family, his rebellion against expectations, and his search for purpose were secondary to the romance, unfortunately. A lot of Sean's growth is framed around his willingness to change for Zhang Xiaoping, such as learning sign language and stepping up to support him. Even the eventual confrontation with his family, like his father, the show could have explored his journey toward self-sufficiency more meaningfully rather than resolving it primarily through romance. Sean has two emotional moments that's not connected with Zhang Xiaoping, and they're both superficial and leaning into dramatics. His cousin, not Chen, who brought guns. Honestly, Taiwanese BL's obsession with gangs and guns. It's on almost every other show. Anyways, we don't need a gunfight. And then Sean's dad. I honestly do not agree with how they frame Sean's dad's motives for being shitty and representing it as aggressive love. I will dig deeper into that in Let Free the Curse of Taekwondo because that's just toxic. By the way, I'm still confused. Is Nat Chen's character in love with Sean or is this rivalry? Because it could go both ways. And this is Taiwan after all. One last thing before we end this. The storyline for Zhang Xiaoping's friend, Song Shuhi, if I'm saying that correctly, the SA was totally unnecessary. We have enough SA plots. We don't need another one. I think these people just want to be controversial for the sake of being controversial. But I rated this 10 out of 10, so I guess I'm part of the problem. At the end of the day, See Your Love delivers a compelling romance, but it also leaves room for discussions about character depth and the missed opportunities. While the show did justice to Zhang Xiaoping's struggles and personal journey, Shan's arc remained somewhat underexplored. I would have liked him to explore and recount more about his own privileges in contrast to Zhang Xiaoping and his own struggles with self-worth. Does that mean that the show failed in any way? Not at all. The romance worked, the chemistry was off the charts, the emotional beats hit hard, but it does make me wonder how much more powerful would See Your Love have been if it had given Sean an arc that was just as nuanced as Zhang Xiaoping's, if it had allowed him to confront his own identity and struggles with the same depth instead of primarily being the catalyst for Zhao Shang Zhao Shangping. Zhang Xiaoping's growth. I've been saying that name a few times now. Names are hard. There's just so much untapped potential there, but I digress. At the end of the day, I'm just glad See Your Love exists. It's rare to see a BL series engage with disability representation in a way that isn't exploitative or overly romanticized, and for that alone, it deserves recognition. It might not have given me everything I wanted, but what it did deliver, it delivered well. And let's be honest, when the main couple has that much chemistry, sometimes you just have to sit back and enjoy the ride. Anyway, that's enough rambling for me. It's been 30 minutes, I think. See Your Love hijacked 2024, and I'm not even mad about it. If you're still here, why? Just kidding. Like the video, subscribe for more, drink your water, stay hydrated. Bye bye.